Greetings everybody, Nick DiVirgilio here, and today's video is on this Roland TD-07KV electronic drum kit. Let's have some fun. If you're a new drummer, getting into playing drums, you've been playing just a little bit while, you need some sort of option to play in your apartment, something that's low volume, not gonna mess with the neighbors, but you could still rock and have a really good time and learn and practice. This Roland TD-07KV is a really good option to check out. It has a lot of features and a small footprint. It's really compact. The brain is really powerful for being just a little thing here. The sounds are great. It's really easy to use, so let's get into all the details right now. Let's first go through the pads and what you get when you open up the box of the Roland TD-07KV. We'll start with the kick drum pad. It's the KD10, a really nice feeling kick drum pad that doesn't give you any vibration in the leg when the beater hits the pad. You can bury the beater into the pad, you can pull the beater off. Really natural feeling like when you're playing a normal kick drum. For the snare and toms, I want to mention you get double ply mesh heads. These are like the original feeling Roland mesh heads. Really nice, bouncy. You can tune them. You can tighten up the feel or loosen up the feel to your liking. They're really nice. You get a PDX-8 for the snare drum, dual zone pads. So you'll get a sound on the rim and on the pad itself. Then you get PDX-6As for the toms. These are single zone pads. The two crash pads are CY8s, nice feeling pads that have choke ability when you hit the cymbal. Really cool. And a CY5 on the hi-hat. What's cool about the hi-hat pedal is that you can play it like a normal hi-hat. For a package like this, at the price point that it's in and the compact size that it's in, to have these sort of playability features is a really cool thing. You could feather the hi-hat. Check this out. The sound decays naturally. You could play normal hi-hat patterns with the CY5 on this Roland TD-07. You of course get the TD-07 sound module over here. We'll get into the details of that in just a second. A nice 4-poster rack that's really sturdy, doesn't move at all. I do encourage you though, when you put this rack together on your own, to tighten down those screws pretty tightly. Not too far to where you break them or make them snap by any means, right? But tight enough to where nothing moves, and then it'll be nice and solid and sturdy for you no matter how hard you're playing. You do have to provide your own kick drum pedal, your own throne, your own sticks, but other than that, you're ready to rock. Now let's get into the sounds of the TD-07, because that's the best part about it. The pads feel good, it's really easy to use, but you want it to sound good when you play and get inspired to play some drums, right? You get 143 instruments and 50 presets coming right out of the box here. You can adjust all of these things, we'll get into those details. But you get 25 like preset kits and 25 user kits to customize however you see fit. I'm going to take you through some of the sounds right now. Here we go. I took you through a bunch of sounds. You can tell there's all kinds of sounds in the TD-07. And again, you can manipulate all those sounds as well, so you can totally customize whatever you're hearing. But the 25 presets, you get just a little bit of everything. You get some rock, you get some sort of more mellow stuff you can play jazz with or funk and R&B with. You get percussion sounds, electronic drum sounds, all kinds of stuff. Another thing I want to mention that is really important, especially about this kit and being able to play it in your apartment and in other places where the volume needs to be low, is it's a super quiet kit on its own. You really don't hear much of anything. So if you're upstairs playing these drums, the people down below you really aren't going to hear anything. So here's what the drum set sounds like with no volume coming out of the brain. This is just the pads on their own. See, it's not loud at all, really. You're going to hear a little bit of tapping, of course, but this kind of volume's not going to bug the neighbors below you at all. So you can play all night long and just get into some creativity making music. It's so much fun. I encourage you to do so for hours on end. Let's get into the brain now. This is where all the magic happens in the TD-07KV, and again, it's super easy to use. Let me first point out what you're seeing here. On the top, you have your headphone out and your output. So if you want to go out to a speaker, you just use that same little mini 1/8" output. Right next to that is the mix in, so you can plug something into it and play along if you want. You also get USB to Midi. Now this is a great feature because if you use a DAW like Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton, anything like that at home, you can use this as your interface to play along with other virtual instruments. You can record yourself playing into the DAW as well and record the MIDI and then adjust the MIDI from inside your DAW. Super powerful and really easy to use, and it's a great feature for something at this price point. You only have a small amount of buttons on the brain itself. You have the big kit button right here. This takes you out, like if you're editing something, you hit this kit button, it takes you back to the kit page. Exit and enter buttons. The arrow left and right buttons takes you to different pages when you're editing. The volume buttons bring the volume up and down. Really simple. The first button I'm hitting right here is the coaching button. There's some really cool coaching features inside the TD-07 to work on your time, your rhythm, all kinds of stuff. We'll get into a couple of those in just a second. Right next to that is the metronome. There's some nice metronome features, different sounds, different ways to change the rhythm, the beats, the subdivisions, all of that kind of stuff is super easy to do. Your kit edit button, again, you can totally customize everything you see, everything you hear in the TD-07. Really nice. Right here is a Bluetooth button. You can pair your phone or any other Bluetooth device and play along with that device and have a really good time. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to demonstrate that in just a couple seconds here as well. The button right next to the Bluetooth button is the system button. That's where you get into the factory reset, the version of the firmware, different internal things you use the system button for. Right next to that is the power button. Lastly, you get a nice big jog wheel right in the center, and that's it. So I mentioned some cool coaching features. If you're new to playing drums and you want to see how your time is, how your rhythm is, do this. Hit the coaching button. First one is time check. You get a 2-bar countdown, you play along, and it gives you a score of how good your time is. Let's see how good my time is. Oh, I got off just a little bit at the end. I tried to get fancy, put in a fill, and I got 97 instead of 100. But see, it's really cool, and you could, check your time. It's cool. There's another one right after that, which I think is fun, and that is the quiet count. What quiet count means is, say you have 4 bars of the metronome going along. Well, you could turn off the 4th bar. You could turn off the 3rd and 4th bar, or all of the bars. It's basically seeing how steady your playing is without the metronome going on. Then the metronome comes back on, and you'll see if you're right on it or you're off or what. So let's try it right now. This is set up to play 4 measures, and the 4th measure, the click track turns off. So let's see how it goes. Here we go. So you can really tell when you do a fill, if your fill's a little bit draggy or a little bit rushed. I mean, it's a really cool thing to hear how you stay in tempo when you're not locked to a metronome. I highly encourage you to check out that one. I mentioned earlier that there's a really nice metronome. The features are really cool. Just hit the metronome button and you'll start hearing it. Then it says type right now. When you turn the jog wheel, you can change the sound. The next one's my favorite. Here we go. Check this out.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
And so on. Then use your arrow buttons to get to the other features. You could pan it, center, left or right, wherever you want in the stereo spectrum, especially if you're using headphones. Rhythm, this is where you change the subdivision. So you use your jog wheel, change it to eighth notes, triplets, whatever you like. Go back one more, and then here you can change the beat. So right now it's just in four quarter notes. You can go to 5, 6, whatever you want. Now we're going to dive in a little bit deep. I don't want to spend too much time here because you can really take a long time going through all of the features. There's really a lot of them inside if you go through all the menus. But let me tell you, all you have to do is pull this thing out of the box, set it up and play. You don't really need to touch anything on the brain itself just to have fun and to start hearing things and to working on your playing, okay? But if you like tweaking things, you can get into it. So you just hit the kit edit button. That's the far button right over here next to the metronome button. Once you get in there, first page you're going to see is instrument. Hit enter, then whatever pad you hit, it'll tell you. Snare, it says snare right now, tom 1, tom 2, and so on. Now when you're in here, once you hit whatever pad you're on, just turn the jog wheel and you can change the sound. Simple. As easy as that. So that's the simplest way to customize a kit. Just hit the pad you want and find the sound you want and do that with all the pads and you have a customized kit. Hit the exit button to go back out, then hit the arrow button to the right to get to the next page. Kit volume. This is where you change the individual volumes of the pads or the kit itself. This is where you can turn the hi-hat up and down, the hi-hat sound up and down, and so on. Just hit enter, go inside, use the arrow back and forth to change the different volume levels. Exit to get back out, arrow to the right, transient. What transient is when you hit an acoustic drum, the sound you're hearing isn't the only sound. There's lots of extra things in the air that your ear is picking up, but you think it's only one sound. Well, when they model these sounds in the factory and in the Roland studios, they sample not just the single hit, they sample all of the extra sounds. The reverb in the room, the decay of the drum, all the little bells and whistles. And that's what you get in these sounds. So the transient feature turns up the attack, a little bit of the decay, whatever you want. So again, it's customizing the sound to your taste. Pad EQ, you can change the individual EQ of each pad. You want a little more high end on the toms? Just hit enter. Go to whatever pad you want to go to. Tom 1. Hit the arrow button over. Starts at the low frequency. Then you go to mid. Let's get up to the high frequency so you can really hear. It's at 2.5 kilohertz. It's at +4, but if I turn this up, you can really hear the EQ, the high-end EQ change on the sound. Check it out. See how much brighter it got? I put it back to the original setting right there. But again, you can customize every pad, the EQ of every pad to your liking. Next is overheads. Now this is pretty tweaky. They have a mic modeler in here, and you could change the different sound of the overhead mics of the kit. Hit enter, go in, use the plus, use the arrows back and forth, use the jog wheel to change the different types of overheads that come with the particular kit. It's a really nice feature. Then you have room settings that you could change. Hit enter, whether it's on or off. If you don't want the room sound on or any other sound, just use the jog wheel and you can turn it off. But we'll leave it on. Then you go over with the arrow buttons and again, change your different room sounds. Now what I'm finding with some of these sounds here is that some of the sounds already have ambience built into the sample a little bit, okay? So some you're not going to hear the difference that much, and some you're going to hear more. Just go in there. Once you get into the menus, once you've decided to go in and edit, just dive in deep and tweak to your heart's content, and you'll really start hearing the things change. I went over to the right again on the arrow button so you can change the distance of the room mics, the time, the level. I turned it up to +6, so now you can really hear the ambience. Turn it down. Don't hear as much, but again, there's ambience in the sound already, and so on. So, again, lots of really cool editing features inside the TD-07KV. So hopefully you can tell that the TD-07KV is a super cool little electronic drum kit. Lots of features. But there's one more I want to get to before we close out this video, and that's the Bluetooth connectivity. This is super cool. Check this out. I'm going to pair my phone to the TD-07 and play along to a song. It's really easy to do. Hit the Bluetooth button. It says pairing. Now I'm going to go to the Bluetooth setting in my phone. TD-07 is not connected. Let it connect here. Connected. I mean, that was like that this happens. Really cool. So now, what I want to do is, say you have, listen, playing along to music is some of the best way to learn how to play drums. I highly encourage that. Taking lessons, learning how to read music is equally important, of course. But one of the best things you can do is just put on a record, put on Spotify or YouTube or whatever, and play along to your favorite jams. Maybe you want to put on Spotify and put on the record I just put out, Invisible, that I recorded here at Sweetwater Studios. You want to play along to one of my songs, which is what I'm going to do right now. Ha, plug, plug, plug. Check it out. So I'm going to go over to Spotify. Happen to have my record up on Spotify right now. I'm going to go back to the kit, so make sure you exit out. It's already paired. I picked the setting of Fat Drums, number 5. All right, I picked the song called I'm Gone off of my record Invisible. The phone is paired to the TD-07KV. Let's jam along. That's so much fun, and you can do this with any song you like, any band you like. Really dive in there and jam along to all kinds of music. It's a lot of fun to do. And there you have it, everybody. The Roland TD-07KV, small, compact, really cool drum kit. If you're new to drums, even if you're a more advanced drummer, you just want something at home to be able to practice with that's low volume, that's not going to kill the neighbors, but you can plug in your headphones, play along to music, so many cool features. This would fit in a nice little small club. You could use this in a house of worship setting, no problem. It's a fun drum kit, and I highly encourage you to check it out. If you want any more information about this particular Roland drum kit or any other Roland product, just talk to your Sweetwater sales engineer. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'm going to jam along to my song a little bit more as we say goodbye. Take care, everybody.
The air is fresh, so fresh I can barely breathe. I can barely breathe. Is this another planet I've walked into? Is this the world that was...
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Click right here for more videos just like this one, or start at Sweetwater for all your music, instrument, and pro audio needs.